Universitas Terbuka, please allow me to extend our warmest welcome to the distinguished Vice Dean for Research and Innovation, College of Education, University of Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, Professor Faiza Adil Gonaim. Good afternoon, Professor.
Good afternoon. Thank you for this introduction.
And our most honorable at Universitas Terbuka, the Director of Postgraduate School, Professor Dr. Maman Rumanta, and Vice Director for Academic Affairs, School of Graduate Studies, Professor Dr. Dewi Julia Ratnaningsi, Vice Director for Non-Academic Affairs, School of Graduate Studies, Dr. Shain Pintar Siolema Patiro, Head of Master in Elementary Education Study Program, Dr. Puriyati, Professors at Elementary Education Department of Postgraduate School, Professor Dr. Tita Rosita, Professor Dr. Amalia Sapriati, all heads of department in postgraduate school, and of course, not to forget all lecturers, students, and all the invited guests who are joining us online this afternoon. Hello, we're delighted to have all of you here today. And ladies and gentlemen, as all of you might have known that today is the chance for us to gather in the second episode of the general lecture, which brings forward a very relevant and thought-provoking theme that is rethinking effective leadership, the central role of emotional intelligence. A theme that invites us not only to rethink how leadership is practiced, but also to reflect on how we connect, communicate, and lead with empathy in today's dynamic educational landscape. And as exciting as the theme does sound, I would also like to inform you that this event is broadcasted live through Zoom and also UTTV YouTube channel. So please stay tuned till the end of the session as the feedback link will be shared by our committee. So now, before we continue to the next session, let's now take a moment to strengthen our sense of unity. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now sing Indonesian National Anthem, Indonesia Raya, followed by the hymn of Universitas Terbuka. To all participants, we request you to present in this joint and this solemn song. Thank you. Right. Ladies and gentlemen, as we begin our agenda today, let's first listen to the opening remarks that will be delivered by the Director of Postgraduate School of Universitas Terbuka, Professor Dr. Maman Rumanta. To Professor Dr. Maman, the time and screen is yours.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Ayubi. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good afternoon, selamat siang, Narul Khair,
Bogor.
salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan, Rahayu. Distinguished guest speakers, Profesor Dr. Faiza Adil Gonaim, respective moderator, Ms. Ayubi Cakradiwati, honorable lecturer, and colleagues from various study programs, and dear students of the master program in elementary education. First of all, on behalf of Postgraduate School of Universitas Terbuka, I'd like to express our sincere gratitude to Professor Dr. Faiza Adil Gonaim for her kind willingness to share her knowledge and expertise in this general lecture. It is truly an honor for us to welcome you as our distinguished speakers today. And I would like to extend my appreciation to the master programs in elementary education for organizing in this academic activity, as well as to all lecturers from various study programs who have taken the time to attend and support this event. And I would like to, our sincere appreciate also goes to all students who are participating in this lecture today. Ladies and gentlemen, Bapak Ibu sekalian, general lecture atau kita sebut kuliah umum merupakan kegiatan yang sangat penting Bapak sekalian, terutama bagi para mahasiswa Universitas Terbuka, khususnya dalam ini program studi Magister Pendidikan Dasar. Tapi saya dengar tadi selain MPDr, mahasiswa yang lain juga diikutkan dalam kegiatan ini, sehingga saya kira kegiatan ini sangat penting ya bagi teman-teman, karena leadership itu sangat berperan di dalam nantinya meningkatkan kita semua sebagai leader gitu ya, sehingga bagaimana leadership yang efektif itu ya menjadi sesuatu yang sangat penting saya kira, karena kita paling tidak leader di rumah tangga, di kantor dan lain-lain gitu ya, sehingga itu sangat penting untuk kita semua. Jadi general lecture atau kuliah umum itu merupakan bagian penting Bapak sekalian, karena UT merupakan salah satu perguruan tinggi yang sudah bergelar sebagai PTNBH, perguruan tinggi berbadan hukum yang tentu saja dituntut untuk menjadi perguruan tinggi yang berkualitas dunia, world class university. Oleh karena itu layanan kepada mahasiswa tentu saja tidak hanya menggunakan bahasa-bahasa Indonesia, tetapi juga di sini kita akan belajar memahami bagaimana narasumber yang mungkin berbahasa Inggris atau bahasa lainnya yang mungkin akan sering Bapak Ibu sekalian dapatkan. Ini semata supaya teman-teman lebih memahami pengetahuan dan juga memberikan wawasan yang lebih luas kepada kita semua untuk mengenal lebih jauh tentang dalam hal ini tentang leadership ya. Tetapi mungkin di topik-topik lain kita akan membawakan topik-topik yang lebih baik lagi atau lebih luas lagi gitu ya wawasannya. Dan ini merupakan bagian penting sekali lagi karena kami menginginkan lulusan Universitas Terbuka itu paling tidak setara lah dengan perguruan tinggi berbadan hukum yang lainnya. Saya kira itu Bapak sekalian sebagai informasi bahwa kita akan memberikan banyak, bukan hanya kuliah umum, tapi mungkin juga ada ada sharing lecturer mungkin ya, atau mungkin juga ada yang namanya kegiatan-kegiatan lain yang termasuk seminar internasional yang semuanya itu akan memberikan wawasan yang lebih luas. Saya kira itu, dan kami percaya, I believe that discussion and effective leadership and central role of emotional intelligence are increasingly important in today's education environment. Jadi sangat penting bagi pendidikan ya, bagaimana leadership ini menjadi sebagian yang sangat penting, dan where education leader expected to manage education institution, inspiring community and support meaningful learning experiences. Therefore, we hope that lecture will enrich our perspective, strengthen our academic and understanding, and provide valuable insight that can be applied in education practice. Jadi sekalian sangat penting sekali lagi apa yang disebut dengan leadership ini. Oleh karena itu, mari kita ikuti kegiatan ini dengan baik, dan jangan sampai di tengah jalan kita keluar gitu ya. Ini kadang-kadang kalau online seperti itu. Dan sekali lagi saya ucapkan semoga kegiatan ini berjalan dengan baik. And once again, we sincerely thanks for Professor Dr. Faiza Adil Gonaim for sharing valuable time and expertise with us today. And I hope this event will be meaningful for us. Thank you. Finally, I wish all participants a fruitful and inspiring lecture. Thank you very much. And wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih. Salam.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Professor Maman, for such warm and encouraging speech, especially to our students. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're now coming to the most awaited session. But before that, please allow me to read out our today's lecturer's biography. So, our distinguished speaker or lecturer today is a professor of educational leadership with an impressive and a diverse academic and professional journey. She earned her PhD in educational leadership from the University of Alberta, Canada, supported by prestigious international scholarships and recognized also for outstanding academic achievement throughout her studies. And what makes her profile particularly interesting is that her expertise is not only rooted in educational leadership, but also enriched by interdisciplinary backgrounds, including clinical psychology, mental health, and professional leadership certification. Well, this obviously shows her strong commitment to understanding leadership from both cognitive and also emotional perspectives. And currently, she also serves as the Vice Dean for Research and Innovation at the College of Education, University of Jeddah, where she actively leads initiatives in research development, also innovation, academic quality. And at the same time, she's also involved at the national level, contributing to leadership development programs under the Ministry of Education. And one last but not least is beyond the academic area, what truly stands her out is her strong engagement in community service and volunteerism, where she has initiated and participated in various social and educational programs, which reflects her belief that leadership should create a real impact in society, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in warmly welcoming Professor Faiza Adil Gonaim. Hello, good afternoon, Professor.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Introduction. Let me just share my slide.
Sure. And just a brief information, I would like to also inform you, you have approximately 1 hour to deliver your lecture. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Good afternoon, esteemed faculty members and dear graduate students. It's truly an honor to join you today from Saudi Arabia and engage with such a distinguished academic community at Universitas Terbuka. Also, I am honored to be part of this academic meeting alongside this distinguished group of experts in the field, including Prof. Maman and Dr. Ayubi. Also, I would like to thank Dr. Sri for the kind invitation and excellent organization. She gave a brief introduction about myself. So let's move to this opening reflection. I would like to start with this simple question, and I want you to think for a moment. Have you worked with a knowledgeable but difficult leader? So I want you to think about this. I am sure that many names and memories have come to your minds. Now, I want to give you another question. Have you been inspired by someone emotionally supportive? So, the differences between these two leaders is not knowledge, it is emotional intelligence. Therefore, today we will rethink leadership not as authority or position, but as human-centered influence process where emotional intelligence lies at the core. As we are going to talk about emotional intelligence for leaders, we have to discuss what is leadership basically. Is leadership a position, a process, an outcome, or a personality? So I want you to think about this. Leadership, in fact, is not a position, but a process of influence. It is the ability to inspire, guide, and empower others. Effective leaders shape vision and align people toward shared goals. Leadership is exercised through relationship, not authority alone. For decades, leadership has been associated with authority, decision-making power, strategic thinking, technical expertise. Although these are important, they are not longer sufficient. But why? Why authority? Why decision-making power? Why strategic thinking? Why technical expertise are not sufficient for today's leadership? I want you to think about this. In today's educational environment, leaders face many challenges, and we can face this in educational environment. We are facing many challenges. What are these, or what some simple challenges or examples for these challenges? Diverse classrooms, emotional and psychological student needs, rapid change and uncertainty, increased expectation for collaboration and inclusion. These are some challenges which we are facing every day. Research consistency shows that leaders fail not because they lack intelligence, but because they lack emotional awareness and relational competence. Especially in education, leader is not about managing system only, and we have to realize this. They don't manage only system. It is about leading people, teachers, students, parents, and communities. That's why we need to rethink leadership in education. Also, we need to rethink leadership in education because leadership in education is human-centered, not system-centered. It involves understanding teachers, students, and community needs. Modern leadership today requires adaptability, empathy, and collaboration. So the success of educational institution depends on the quality of leadership interaction, not just decisions. Let's have a quick look at leadership in Islam. Leadership is an amana, trust, and accountability, guided by justice, mercy, and consultation, rooted in serving people, not controlling them. Emotional intelligence aligns deeply with Islamic leadership value, which we are talking about it today. So we have to realize this, that emotional intelligence aligns deeply with Islamic leadership value. So let's remember the story of a Bedouin man who urinated in the mosque. One day, a Bedouin once entered the mosque and urinated in one of its corners. The companions became angry and rushed to stop him. But what did Prophet Muhammad do, peace be upon him? Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, calmly told them to let them Let the man finish and not impress or hurt him. Afterward, the Prophet gently explained to the man that mosques are places for prayer and worship, not for such actions. This story reflects the Prophet's remarkable emotional intelligence. He showed self-control, empathy, patience, and wisdom in dealing with the situation. Instead of reacting with anger, he chose understanding and educating, turning a mistake into a moment of learning and respect. And we can think about this example in our school, in the classroom, and in our daily reaction with people. What are the components of human behavior? How is our behavior shaped our daily practice? Human behavior is shaped by the interaction of three key components. The first component, cognitive, which we can call it thinking, including beliefs, perceptions, and interpretations. The second component, emotion, we call it feeling, including emotions, moods, and effective responses. The third component is behavior, which we can call it action, observable actions and reaction. These components are interconnected and influencing one another continuously. As we are seeking effective leadership requires awareness and alignment of all these three components. We align cognitive, emotion, and behaviors. And this what shapes our behavior and our student and teachers' behaviors. As we interact with people in daily life, every single day we experience a range of emotions that make up our general mood. Sometimes we wake up in a good mood, other times we wake up in a bad mood. It ultimately depends on what is going on in life at that particular time. However, a high quality leader cannot afford to let their bad mood enter the workplace and affect how they lead their team. And this is a very important point. They leave their bad mood outside of the workplace and doesn't allow this bad mood affect their leading practice or affect their team. They are able to understand the feelings and emotional states of others and choose the most appropriate behavior and response when dealing with them. These emotion wheels remind us that every feeling contains many deeper and more detailed emotions beneath it. For example, sadness may include disappointment, loneliness, or shame, while anger may hide fear or frustration. For leaders, especially those working with young children in elementary schools, emotional awareness is essential for them to understand and to realize. Children may not always express their feelings clearly. So, emotionally intelligent leaders and teachers need to recognize these emotions and understanding their causes and respond with empathy, patience, and care. Look at this quote. Once we understand that emotions are a core driver of behavior, we begin to see why emotional intelligence is not optional in leadership, it is essential. This chart shows the positive impact of respectful relationship between leaders and employee. It highlights that principals with the leaders who feel respected by their leaders are 63% more satisfied at work, 58% more focused on their job, 55% more engaged and motivated. These results remind us that leadership is not only about giving instructions or managing tasks. The way leaders communicate, listen, and treat others with respect directly affect people's motivation, performance, and emotional well-being. For school leaders, especially in elementary education, respectful and emotionally intelligent relationships create a healthier and more positive environment for both teachers and students. As the main subject for our lecture today is emotional intelligence in leadership, we have to know what is emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence refers to the ability to first recognize emotion in oneself and others, second, understand emotional dynamics, third, regulate emotional responses, fourth, use emotions to guide thinking and behaviors effectively. Daniel Goleman, a leading scholar in this field, identifies 5 core components for emotional intelligence. The first component is self-awareness, which means understanding your emotions, strength, and limitation. The second component is self-regulation, which means managing our impulses, staying calm under pressure, responding rather than reacting. The third component, social skills, which means we build relationships, communicating effectively, resolving conflicts. The fourth component, which is an important component, is empathy, which means understanding others' emotion and perspectives. The last component is motivation, which means having internal drive, and this is very important, internal drive, resilience, and commitment beyond external rewards. So our lights, it comes from within. Let me ask you this question for reflection. The question says, which of these 5 do I naturally practice well? I want you to think with yourself, which of these 5 components you naturally practice well? Is it self-regulation, self-awareness, social skills, internal motivation, or empathy? And which one challenges me the most? So everyone is different. We are different. So maybe one component become difficult for one, but it's very easy for the another one. This idea highlights that emotional intelligence is not only about understanding emotions, but also about managing our reactions and choices wisely. Our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are all connected, and each one influences the other. Let's take an example from the school. If a school leader thinks positively during a stressful situations, they are more likely to remain calm emotionally and respond respectfully to teacher and student. In contrast, negative thinking may lead to stress, frustration, and impulsive reactions. Why emotional intelligence is matter in leadership, or why emotional intelligence is central to effective leadership? Let's move from definition to impact. Emotional intelligence builds trust. So leaders who are emotionally aware create psychological safety and make others feel respected and valued. Let me give you an example. When teachers feel safe, sharing concern with their principal without fear of judgment, trust becomes stronger. The second benefit for emotional intelligence for effective leadership, enhancing decision making. So emotions influence decision and emotional intelligence help leaders make balanced and thoughtful choices instead of impulsive reaction. For example, if a leader in the school stays calm during a crisis can make wiser decision under pressure. Also, emotional intelligence is important for leaders for making strengthening relationships. Leadership depends on strong human connection because influence become weaker without trust and communication. For examples, leaders or principal in school who listen respectfully to teacher and student build stronger cooperation and loyalty. Also, the benefit of emotional intelligence in leadership, it improves conflict management. So, emotionally intelligent leaders handle disagreement calmly and focus on solutions rather than blaming others. So, for example, a school leaders may resolve conflict between teachers through respectful dialogue and understanding both perspectives. Emotional intelligence for leaders also increases organizational effectiveness. So, school and organization perform better when people feel appreciated, supported, and understood. For example, teachers often become more motivated and productive when leadership recognizes their effort and support their well-being. Look at this quote. People may forget what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel. So this quote reminds us that leadership is not measured only by words, decision, or achievement, but by the emotional impact we leave on others. Emotionally intelligent leaders create trust, respect, and positive experience that remain in people's memories long after the moment has passed. A powerful example of lasting influence is Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Prophet Muhammad was ranked as number one as the most influential person in history in the book of the 100, a ranking of the most influential person in history, which was first published in 1978 by Michael Hart, despite the author not being a Muslim. So he was the first most influential person in history. This recognition was not only because of the Prophet's achievement, but because of the deep impact he left on people's hearts and lives through compassion, justice, mercy, humility, and emotional wisdom. People around him felt respected, valued, safe, and understood. Even children, servants, and those who opposed him often describe his kindness, patience, and noble character. His leadership was built not only on authority but on trust, empathy, and human connection, which is why his influence continues across generations and cultures until today. This slide shows that leadership has two possible impacts on people's life, a positive impact or a negative one. On the left side, the heart represents leaders who lead with empathy, encouragement, and emotional intelligence. These leaders inspire confidence, support growth, build character, and open opportunities for others. People usually remember them as leaders who helped them succeed and believed in themselves. On the other right side, the brain represents leadership that focuses only on control, pressure, or authority without emotional awareness. This type of leadership may reduce motivation, create doubt, limit potentials, and leave negative emotional effect on people. The main message of this slide is that leadership is not only about task and result, it's also about the emotional experience we create for others. So great leaders lift people up while poor leadership can limit people's confidence and growth. So emotional intelligence in educational leadership support teachers, improve student engagement, build positive school culture, and encourage collaboration. So when leaders lead with empathy and understanding, school become a place where everyone can thrive. Let's look at low emotional intelligence versus high emotional intelligence through the following scenario. A teacher is consistently late with reports. The low emotional intelligence leaders, he could say, "You are not committed. This is unacceptable." Whereas the high emotional response can be, "I have noticed delay recently." So the leaders or the principal can say, "I have noticed delay recently. Is everything okay? How can I support you to meet deadline?" Same issue, but different leadership impact. In education, there are two types of curriculums, and I want you please to focus on this. There are two types of curriculums in education, the visible curriculum and the hidden curriculum. The visible curriculum includes the official subjects, lesson, objectives, and academic content taught in classroom. However, there is also a hidden curriculum, the unspoken lessons students learn through daily interaction, behaviors, attitudes, school culture, and emotional experiences. This hidden curriculum teaches student values such as respect, empathy, communication, confidence, fairness, and emotional regulation, often without direct instruction. And you can see that the hidden curriculum is bigger and huge compared to the official curriculum. That is why educators and school leaders must pay attention not only to what students are taught academically, but also to what they experience emotionally and socially within the school environment. So, emotional intelligence plays a central role in shaping this hidden curriculum and influencing student personal and social development. So, let us now explore the component of emotional intelligence in more details. Emotional intelligence is not it's not one single skill. It is a set of connected abilities that help leaders understand themselves, manage their emotions, understanding others, building strong relationship, and stay motivated toward meaningful goals. For educational leaders, especially in elementary school, these components are essential because leadership is not only about managing tasks, but also about guiding people, supporting teachers, and creating a safe and positive learning environment for students. The first component of emotional intelligence is self-awareness. Self-awareness is the foundation of emotional intelligence. A self-aware leaders understand their emotions and manage reactions wisely instead of acting impulsively. In school, especially in elementary education, self-awareness helps leaders create calm, supportive, and positive environment for both teacher and student. For example, when a parent complains angrily about a classroom issue, a self-aware school leader remains calm, listen carefully, and responds professionally instead of reacting emotionally. This helps solve the problem more effectively and maintain positive relationships. The second component is self-regulation, which is the ability to manage emotions, stay calm under pressure, and respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively. Emotionally intelligent leaders pause before reacting, making balanced decisions, and maintain professionalism even in challenging situation. This helps build trust, stability, and a positive environment within the school community. Let's look at this quote. Feelings are much like waves. We cannot stop them from coming, but we can choose which one to surf. So, this quote reminds us that emotions are a natural part of our life and leadership. We may not always control what we feel, but emotional intelligence helps us manage our reaction wisely. So, effective leaders recognize their emotion, respond thoughtfully, and choose behaviors that create positive impact rather than active impulsively. Another quote. This quote said, when we can no longer change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. This reminds us that emotional intelligence begins with self-awareness and adaptability. So effective leaders understand that while some situations cannot be controlled, our attitude, response, and growth always remain within our control. The third component for emotional intelligence is social skills. Social skills help leaders build positive and effective relationships through communication, collaboration, empathy, and support. So, emotionally intelligent leaders listen actively, communicate respectfully, and work well with others. Strong social skills create trust, teamwork, and positive school culture that support both teacher and student. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, highly valued social skills and demonstrated them through kindness, respect, empathy, active listening, and positive communications with all people. He built strong relationship by making others feel valued and respected regardless of their age or status. For example, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, would greet people warmly, listen attentively, and give full attention to the person speaking with him. Even children felt comfortable and important around him because of his kindness and emotional awareness. This teaches leader that strong relationship and positive communication are essential part of effective leaders. The fourth component is empathy. I think now I finish 1 hour. If I can take like more 3 or 5 minutes, if that's okay.
You still have plenty of time, Professor.
Uh,
Yeah, so it's you still have like about a half hour, so don't worry.
okay, that's great. Thank you.
No worries.
Okay. So the fourth component is empathy. Empathy, which means understanding others' feeling and responding with genuine care, respect, and support. Just a moment, please. So, understanding, it include understanding, listen actively, show compassion, and build strong connection. So, empathy helps leaders create a safe and positive environment where everyone feels valued and understood. So, when a student is upset or struggling, an empathetic leader listens, understands the reason behind the behaviors, speaks kindly, and offers support that helps the children feel safe and understood. The fifth component is motivation. Motivation is the inner drive, and this is very important for us as an educator and as a leader who work in educational environment and who is working especially in elementary organization. So we have to keep our inner drive because sometimes the system or the situation doesn't help or doesn't motivate us. So we have to ignite our inner drive. So motivation is the inner drive that helps leaders stay focused, positive, and committed to their goals even during challenges. Emotionally intelligent leaders inspire others through their energy, optimism, and sense of purpose. They do not only motivate themselves, but also encourage their team to grow and succeed together. For example, when a school faces pressure during exam or educational changes, a motivated leaders remain positive, support teachers, celebrate small achievements, and encourage the team to continue working with confidence and enthusiasm. Okay, as now we talked about the component of emotional intelligence and we understood the value for emotional intelligence for leaders. How can we develop emotional intelligence? The good news, emotional intelligence can be developed. The first strategy for developing emotional intelligence is practicing self-reflection. Emotionally intelligent leaders regularly reflect on their emotions, reactions, and behaviors to better understand themselves and improve their responses. For example, after a stressful meeting, a school leader reflects on why they felt frustrated and how they could respond more calmly next time. And we can think about our daily practice. Maybe we go to our work with a bad feeling, or we communicate with others with an appropriate way. So we can ask ourselves and reflect, what is behind this emotion? Am I tired? I didn't get enough sleep? So this is what we mean by practicing self-reflection and understanding what is behind our emotions. The second strategy for developing emotional intelligence is seeking feedback. Effective leaders understand that feedback helps them grow and become more aware of how others experience their leadership styles. Let me give you an example. A principal asks teachers how they experience communication and support within the school environment. So he can ask them how do they feel about about the daily environment in the school. The third strategy, pausing before responding, and this is important. So the emotionally intelligent leaders avoid impulsive reactions by creating space between emotions and response. Not just hurry by responses, just take a time before responding to any situation. The fourth strategy is developing empathy. Developing empathy intentionally. Empathy requires leaders to listen carefully and understand others' feeling and perspective before making judgment. Let me give you an example from the school. When a teacher's performance suddenly changes, the leaders first seeks to understand possible challenges affecting them before judging their behaviors or before making any reaction. They try to sit with the teacher and ask the teachers what happened in their life that affect their performance. The fifth strategy for developing emotional intelligence for leaders is building emotionally safe environment. Strong leaders create environment where people feel respected, safe, and comfortable, expressing themselves without fear. Let me give you also an example from the school environment. School leaders encourage teachers and students to share ideas and concern openly without fear of embarrassment or criticism and without judgment. I want to give you this simple activity and I want you to reflect on this. Think of a recent challenging interaction, whether in the classroom or with your principal. Ask yourself, what emotions was present? How did I respond? What would an emotionally intelligent response look like? So think about any challenging interaction you experience within today or in the last week or in the last month. What emotions was present? How did I respond? What would an emotional intelligence response look like? This reflections leads to awareness. Awareness leads to choice. Choice leads to growth. This reflection actually invites us to pause and move from automatic reaction to intentional response. It shifts our focus from what happened to how we experience it and manage it. By identifying the emotion, we increase self-awareness. By examining our response, we develop self-regulation. And by imagining a better response, we build our emotionally intelligence practice. In leadership, growth does not come from avoiding difficult interaction, but from learning how to navigate them with awareness, empathy, and purpose. Let's take an example from the school environment. A school leader may receive criticism from a teacher during a stressful meeting. Instead of reacting defensively or emotionally, the leaders or the principal pauses to reflect. What emotion did I feel? Is it frustration, pressure, or disappointment? Why did I react that way? What would a calmer and more emotionally intelligent response look like? So, by reflecting in this way, the leader or the principal become more aware of emotions, responds more thoughtfully, and turns a difficult interaction into an opportunity for growth and stronger communication. So, thinking actively or rethinking leadership, a new framework. Let us redefine effective leadership. I want you to think about this activity. How can we create a new framework for effective leadership, which include emotional intelligence? We want to move from control to what? We want to move from authority to what? We want to move from IQ or from only intelligence to what? Okay. Effective leadership is not about control. Leadership is about connection. Leadership is not about authority. It's about influence. Leadership is not about intelligence only, but emotional wisdom. So we can summarize this as effective leadership equal cognitive intelligence plus emotional intelligence plus ethical purpose. So without emotional intelligence, leadership becomes mechanical. Without it, leadership becomes transformational. Let's think about these questions. How can emotional intelligence be integrated into teachers' training program? The second question, what challenges do leaders face when practice empathy in hierarchical system? The third question, can emotional intelligence conflict with organizational demands? Just take a moment to think about this question. I will go with the first question. How can emotional intelligence be integrated into teachers' training program? So, through reflective activities, communication training, role playing, and real life emotional awareness practice, we can develop emotional intelligence in teacher training program, or just by organizing like this lectures or like this events, and by organizing workshop and courses. The second question, which is a challenging question, is actually, what challenges do leaders face when practicing empathy in hierarchical system? So balancing empathy with rules, authority, fairness, and organizational expectations, we can practice empathy in hierarchical system. Okay, the third question, can emotional intelligence conflict with organizational demands? Sometimes yes, especially when leaders must make difficult decisions under pressure while still considering people's emotions and needs. So there are many and plenty of answers which we can engage emotional intelligence in different environments. Let me show you this activity and this code. This saying by Oprah Winfrey. So I'm sure each one of you know who is Oprah Winfrey. She said, after interviewing thousands of people, I found that what people need the most is what? What do you think people need the most? So you know Oprah Winfrey, she is an American, she's an influential person. She made many programs trying to help many people in America. So she said this saying after interviewing thousands of people, what do you think people need the most? Is it money, success, authority? In reality, one of the deepest human needs is appreciation. People need to feel valued, respected, heard, and recognized. So we go back to the first quote, which said, people may forget many things, but they rarely forget how a leader made them feel. So now we're going to move to closing reflection. What kind of leaders do you want to be remembered as? I want you to think about this, and you can take a picture or capture this slide, and you can reflect on this question. What kind of leader do you want to be remembered as? What kind of leader do I want to be remembered as? Not just what you achieved, what you managed, but how you made people feel, how you help them grow, how you inspire them to become better. If you look at it this way, we can make a great impact in our school, in our students, and with our teachers. Another questions or reflections I want you to think about it. The first question, what core value guide my decision and my behaviors in life? I don't want you to answer this question now. I just want you to take this question for reflection. The second question: when did I face a recent setback and what did I learn from it? Third question: what emotions do I usually experience in challenging situations? How do I respect or how do I respond under pressure or in difficult circumstances? Number 5, what internal dialogue repeated in my mind the most? The last question, what area do I most need to develop within myself to grow further? So you can capture this question and think and reflect about them later. Last, I want to reflect on this slide. People differ in culture, in appearance, in personality, in emotions and ways of thinking. Yet every person deserves respect, regardless of their background. Every person deserves respect, understanding, and compassion. Emotional intelligence enables leaders to appreciate these differences and create inclusive environments where everyone feels valued and heard. In Islam, human diversity is viewed as a sign of wisdom and mercy, not division. Allah says in the Quran, and we made you into peoples and tribes so that you may know one another. So effective leadership does not seek to erase differences, but to understand people, respect perspectives, and lead with empathy, justice, and wisdom. As we come to the end of this session, I would like to leave you with one important thought. Leadership is not only about managing school or about excuse me or about making decisions or achieving goals. True leadership begins with understanding people, respecting emotions, and creating environments where others feel valued, safe, and inspired. As future leaders in elementary education, you will influence not only system and classrooms, but also heart, confidence, and lifelong memories for both teacher and young learners. Never underestimate the power of kindness, empathy, listening, and emotional awareness in shaping positive educational experiences. My advice to you is this: continue developing your minds, but also nurture your emotional wisdom. People may forget titles and achievements, but they will always remember how you made them feel. Thank you sincerely for your thoughtful participation, for your engagement, and your warm hospitality. It has been a true pleasure and honor to be with you today at University Terbuka. I wish you continue success, meaningful leadership, and future filled with positive impact. Uh, so thank you for this invitation. Thank you, Dr. Sri, for honoring me to present this lecture. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Professor Faiza, for your insightful knowledge shared and beautiful presentation as well. I really enjoyed all the, some of the Islamic values that you also integrated in your lecture. Very beautiful. Thank you very much. And I'm pretty sure that everyone also has gained a deeper understanding. Oh, look at those love. Thank you so much, everyone. So I'm pretty sure that everyone has gained a deeper understanding that effective leadership is not only about knowledge and authority, as you said, but also how we manage emotions, build connections, and lead with empathy. And one thing that I couldn't agree more that Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is a great role to look up into in this case. So now, maybe to further our to further enrich our discussion, we will move on to the Q&A session. But before that, Professor Faiza, I just want to make sure your preference for the session. Would you like to keep your camera off or turn it on? We will adjust accordingly.
Actually, I prefer to keep it off, if you don't mind.
All
Thank
right,
you.
sure, thank you. Well,
Thank
ladies
you.
and gentlemen, we will now continue our agenda with the Q&A session. This is a good opportunity for all of us to engage further, share insights, okay, and raise any question you may have. Bapak Ibu boleh yang ingin bertanya, yang ingin mengekspresikan pendapatnya. Dan tadi ada beberapa pertanyaan refleksi yang mungkin mau nge-share apa namanya pendapatnya tentang beberapa hal yang sudah disampaikan, boleh ya. Okay, maybe we can check the chat box first if we have any questions here. Before we move on later also to the live interaction, the raise hand. Hold on there. Okay, we're going to start with this question from Riyandi Marisa. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dear Professor Faiza, my name is Riyandi and I'm from Master's Program in Elementary Education at UT. I would like to ask, here in Indonesia, we often hear that EQ, it should be EQ. EQ alone is not enough without emotional intelligence. However, in Indonesia, when selecting leaders, for example, in higher education institutions, many people only look at educational track records or previous leadership experience without considering emotional intelligence. In this regard, how can we integrate IQ and EI, especially in education and leadership from an early age? Perhaps Professor Faiza could share how education in Jeddah integrates IQ and EI. Thank you, Mr. Riyandi. Yeah, Professor, we got that question.
Thank you, Riyandi, for this question. So it's a very important question, and yes, in many organizations, sometimes they focus only on IQ, but this is actually a long time ago. Now, many organizations they pay attention to emotional intelligence, and they try to make some there are some exams to evaluate or to understand the level of emotional intelligence. And many companies now around the world, they use this kind of exams. Here in Saudi Arabia, actually, we try to notice the behaviors of a person, not only before appointing a person for a position. So we try to notice their behavior, how they interact with their colleague, how they interact with the student. So their daily practice and their daily behaviors can indicate the level of their emotional intelligence. Based on that, we can consider their level of emotional intelligence, not only their IQ, because around the world today, the recognition of the importance of emotional intelligence has been the awareness about it is very high. It's not like before. So there is no organization just point a leader based on their IQ. So they pay great attention for their emotional intelligence. So I hope I answered your question.
All right, thank you very much, Professor, for sharing the context in a country, especially. And yeah, so hope it addressed the question, Mr. Riyandi. Next, we have a question from Dwi Priyo. Thank you for the material you provided, Professor Faiza. So my question is about the difference between a leader and leadership, and how can a leader adapt easily to a new environment or new people? Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the question, Professor.
Yes. Sorry, I'm just, I have something here. Yes, there is no difference between leader and leadership. A leader is a person. A leadership is the concept or the meaning of for leadership or the practice of leadership. So this is a leader is a person, leadership is the meaning of the practice of leadership. So your second question, how a leader can adapt in a new environment. Actually, this is an important question. Leader can adapt in a new environment through a combination of awareness, trying first to understand the environment, collect information, try to stay calm and flexible, and try develop like situational awareness. So by collecting information every day and by staying calm, this help leader to adapt to a new environment. Also by practicing emotional intelligence, this including managing one own uncertainty, like sometimes we feel like we are feared in a new environment. So we have to stay calm, show empathy toward others, and building trust. Building trust is very important in a new environment. So when a leader is a calm, respectful, and open, this earns acceptance and more quickly in a new environment. Also, as I mentioned before, flexibility than applying one fixed approach in the beginning is very important. It's not good when we are appointed in a new environment, we come with a new agenda right away. We have to keep like collecting information, being flexible to accepting what is already there. After that, trying step by step to develop this environment and bringing our agenda to this environment. Also, building strong relationship in the beginning is very important for a new leader. So thank you for your question, and I hope I answered it well for you.
Right. Thank you very much, Prof. Faiza. Maybe we can move on to the lifeline. We have Mrs. Sari Mawarni. You haven't unmuted your microphone, sorry. You haven't unmuted your microphone, sorry. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, is my audio is
That's very
Okay.
clear now.
okay. Thank you, Miss Ayubi. Assalamualaikum, Professor Faiza.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
My name is Sari, and this is my first general lecture. And I find this topic very interesting. I'm from the Master of Primary Education program, and I'm deeply inspired by your explanation on how empathy is the foundation of leadership. In the context of primary education, we often face the challenge of balancing justice and rahmah. How can we as educators ensure that our justice in the classroom always comes from a place of rahmah, so that every correction we give to our students leads to their growth rather than just reflecting our authority? And thank you very much, Prof, for your insightful answer, and shukran jazilan. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sari, for this question. Actually, it's a beautiful question. And yes, we need to include justice and rahma in the classroom, especially actually when we teach young children in elementary school. So to ensure justice and compassion in the classroom, teachers actually need to balance fairness with understanding. So by clearly being consistent in rules, this is very important. All students should be treated equally in expectation and consequences to ensure fairness. And also they have to keep in mind empathy and understanding each student. So student A is not like student B. If every student needs different kind of like behaviors. That's why in leadership we have situational leadership. What means situational leadership? So that leaders has to adapt his behavior according to the student needs. So a teacher in a classroom, he is a leader. So one of his responsibility is to understand each student and each student needs to meet these needs. So by this, they can be merciful and justful with each student. And also to meet this and being justice, to bring justice in the classroom and rahma, to be flexible in responses. And also make like respectful communication and inclusive practice. All of this help teachers or the leaders in the classroom bring rahma with the student. I assure that understanding each student in the classroom is the key to treat them well according to their like differences and according to their needs. Thank you, Sari, for your question. I hope I clarified well for you.
Thank you very much, Professor Faiza. Mrs. Sari, thank you very much for your question. And I think I saw Mr. Echo was raising his hand earlier, but now it's not there. But do you still want to raise a question, Mr. Echo Suryana? Okay, maybe not this one. All right, then maybe before we have anyone else to raise their hand and ask directly to Prof. Faiza, we can move on to the chat box again because we have another few questions coming from Badia. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dear Prof. Faiza, how does emotional intelligence contribute to effective leadership, particularly in building trust and managing conflict? Please, Prof.
It's another beautiful question. Actually, emotional intelligence helps build trust by promoting empathy, honesty, and emotional control. This makes people feel safe and respected. Also, managing differences through calm communication, active listening, and understanding others' perspectives. This can turn any conflict into opportunity for better collaboration. So, by doing this, we can build trust and manage conflict and being consistent actually in our behavior. Remember when we talked about the hidden curriculum? Even we are as a leader in the school or as a teacher, we have to remember the hidden curriculum and we have to be consistent in our behavior. So when the student and our colleague notice this in our behaviors, they trust us more and they accept us when we come with any like change or any thing we want to add in the school environment. So thank you, Badria, for your question.
Thank you very much, Prof. And moving on to the next one, we have from Alice Purnamasari. My name is Alice Purnamasari. I will ask, based on this presentation, what potential research topics can be explored by graduate students in primary education, particularly regarding the relationship between leaders, emotional intelligence, and teacher engagement, and also satisfaction? Please, Prof.
Yes, I like actually this question. Okay, there are actually many topic we can connect with emotional intelligence, especially in elementary school. We can like connect the role of instructional leadership in improving student and outcome, and also how emotional intelligence of school principal impact the school climate. Also, we can like link between teaching and learning. So we can like do research and effectiveness of active learning strategies in primary classroom. And also we can think about student development, how social and emotional learning and its role in behavior and achievement. Also, we can bring research that talk about the impact of emotional intelligence on school leadership and effectiveness, the relationship between emotional intelligence and organizational trust in educational institution, how emotional intelligence can contribute in building positive school culture. These actually some subject we can consider in research. Also, emotional intelligence and psychological safety in educational environment. This is also another area. And also we can think about the effectiveness of training program in developing emotional intelligence among school leaders. These actually some of the area we can consider in research.
Right, thank you very much, Prof. So basically, there are plenty of topics that we can take from this particular themes, right? And I notice here in the chat box we we have there's a compact question from the committee members. Great, then maybe we can hold on for this one question on the chat box, so we can have the one on the screen now. So yeah, how is emotionally intelligent leadership implemented in primary education in Saudi Arabia, especially in responding to educational reforms and cultural context? That's a very interesting one, Prof. Please.
Yes, I like actually this question. How is emotional intelligence leadership implemented in the elementary school? Actually, emotional intelligence can be integrated in elementary school in Saudi Arabia through the practice and structural approach. So they embedding emotional intelligence within the curriculum, teaching skills. They have many courses and workshop which develop emotional intelligence regulation and social interaction as part of daily lesson. Also through teacher practice, we have teacher model. This model include developing emotional intelligence as important skills for leader, and also by creating supportive classroom environment. So this promote psychological safety for student. By promoting this, also by using interactive strategies such as asking teachers to use storytelling, role playing, engage modern teaching strategies which include emotional intelligence, whether in their practice or in the classroom. This is some of the strategies which the teachers use in elementary school in Saudi Arabia to involve emotional intelligence.
Thank you very much, Prof. Faiza, for sharing that. But speaking of the context of Saudi Arabia, this reminds me of this question from Mr. Eko Suryana on the chat box. He also asked the context of Saudi Arabia, but particularly on the involvement of women's leadership in education, which is very important and interesting as well in this age. So what's your opinion on that? Could you share that with us?
Yes, of course. Actually, I like this question because the women's situation has changed immensely in Saudi Arabia today. So women's leadership and empowerment in Saudi Arabia have witnessed actually significant progress, especially under the vision of 2030 here in Saudi Arabia. So in the policy level, reform had expanded women right in education, employment, and mobility. As you know, now almost more than 10 years, we have been driving car. Before we weren't allowed to drive a car. Also, women are increasingly these days represented in leadership's role across sectors such as in education, in healthcare, in business. But they nowadays, the good thing, they prefer women leadership than men because women they pay more attention to details, so they prefer their leadership. Also, they believe that women leadership, I mean, we have many training program focus on women leadership to like develop their skills in leadership. Also, actually, cultural transformation here in Saudi Arabia play significant role in supporting women contribution in leadership. Actually, also, I have to admit we still have some challenges, such as how to balance professional and social expectations and how to ensure equal opportunity in higher education levels. We still have this actually challenges, but in general, women leadership in Saudi Arabia is moving from empowerment to impact and contributing in development of many organization. So thank you for this question. Dia, I think her name.
That was from Mr. Echo.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Rico.
Yeah, thank you so much for Faiza. And speaking of that as well, actually, we have the concrete example of the leadership in Saudi Arabia. That is you, because you're the vice dean, vice dean in your university. So that's one of the concrete examples of how the women leadership in Saudi Arabia has slowly shifted into a more positive way, right? Okay. So we also have another question from Dia. Dear Professor, what are simple, culturally appropriate steps for developing emotional intelligence that work across different human societies? Right. Please, Prof.
Okay, what is the question? What are the simple cultural steps for
What are
developing?
simple, culturally appropriate steps for developing emotional intelligence that work across different human societies? Alex, like, she's concerned about different cultural background in different places, you know.
Yes, actually, it's a nice question. As I mentioned in one of the slides, that the differences is opportunity for leaders. So in the Quran, Allah made us like different, so we can take advantage from each other. So these differences actually, emotional intelligence enable leaders to appreciate these differences and create inclusive environment where everyone can feel valued and heard. So your question, how we can develop emotional intelligence across different cultures. We can build cultural awareness. We understand the differences of each cultures. We can practice empathy, try to understand the perspective and that was shaped by different background. And we can improve communication, how we communicate with different culture. Even in one country, like in Saudi Arabia, when I want to communicate with people who are living in the West, it's different when I want to communicate with the people who's living in the North or in the East, because every environment has different cultures. So also for leader has to stay flexible, avoid rigid like judgment, and adapt our behavior when needed according to the differences of the other culture. And we have to reflect continuously. So we have to evaluate our reaction and learn from cross cultures interaction. So, like, if I want to conclude my answer, is understanding the differences of the other cultures, respect them, and adapt with awareness and empathy. So thank you for your question.
Right, thank you, Professor. Moving on to the next one, we have from Yana Duyanti. The question is, considering the claim that emotional intelligence enhances decision making, how might emotional biases interfere with rational decision processes? And how should leaders navigate this tension? Thank you. All right, Professor, please.
Okay, I like this question, and I think this question is related to the other question by, I think, IST Astika, she said, how can emotional intelligence help leaders manage conflict and build strong relationship? I can answer this question together because they are linked with each other. So emotional intelligence seems to be conflicted with a decision. We have to realize that the goal is not to choose one over the other, but we have to balance emotion with sound judgment. So, how can we do that? We have first to pause and recognize the emotions involved in the situation. So, this is the core of emotional intelligence, awareness without impulsive reaction. Second thing, how we can avoid the conflict between the decision and emotion, we have to separate fact from feelings. So we can ask, what is the objective requirement of this situation? And what are the emotional concerns? This helps us carefully where the tensions lies. So we can think about the separation from the feeling and the rational decision. We have also to consider the values and principles. So effective decisions are guided by fairness, ethics, and long-term impact, not only by immediate emotional comfort. So when we try to think for the long term, so we can bring the emotion with the right decision. Also, we can shape how the decision is implemented. Also, we have to think about this. Even if the decision itself must remain firm, we can also bring the emotion to uh, give power to this decision, so that this decision and emotion should not be conflicted. So we think about the long term of the impact of this decision, we can bring the emotion. Also, the wise integration between emotion and decision is that the decision should be rational and fair, and the process should be empathetic and human. So, to conclude this answer, emotional intelligence does not replace decision making. It guided how decisions are made and communicated. It ensures they are both effective and respectful. So, thank you both for this important question.
Thank you so much, Prof. Faiza. Right, so I also got informed by the committee members that we have another compiled question. So could anyone from the committee members show up the question that has been compiled? All right, maybe they're not there yet, so we're just gonna move on with okay, wait, there's a comment from Yana Duyanti, thank you. All right then, so apparently we don't have any further question yet in the chat box now. So while we're waiting for another question, Prof. Faiza, I actually have something in my mind. It is in one of your explanations in the presentation, which particularly talks about the traditional leadership, right? So from your previous explanation about traditional leadership limitations, such as focusing on too much authority and the technical skills, well, honestly speaking, like this practice, it's still very common to be found here in our country. So my question is, in your opinion, in your view, why do you think there are still many institutions who still struggle to move beyond this model? So I would like to know your view on this.
Thank you for this, for bringing this point. Actually, yes, all of us, we are working within an institution which has rules and strategies, which we cannot go away from these rules. So still in all or most of the institutions, still there is authority, and we need authority. We don't want to replace authority by emotional intelligence or by the component of emotional intelligence. We still need authority. We still need decision-making power. We need strategic thinking. We need technical expertise. But with all of this, because we need to keep control in the institution and in the organization, and without authority, we cannot keep this control. But with keeping this, we have to consider the other side of humanity, which is emotional intelligence. As you mentioned, if we thought about like educational institution, we are now, it's not like before. We have diverse classrooms. Even here in Saudi Arabia, now we have in one classroom students from different side of the world. So it's not like before. Now we accept like foreigner students. Also, students' needs today it's different like before. Before the student they were also only in one place. Now, as we know, the globalization and the openness to the world, so the student needs are like not like before. They are open to the world. So we have to consider these differences. That's why we need to bring emotional intelligence in today's institution. Also, the increased expectation for inclusion and for innovation, all of this cannot be done or fulfilled by the traditional leadership only. So that's why leadership has to include emotional awareness and rational competences to bring to achieve the outcome which we need in today's world. So today's school, today's students are not like before. Their needs are different than before. So we cannot meet these needs by only the traditional leadership. By mixing the component of traditional leadership with the component of emotional intelligence, we can come to the outcome which we are looking for today.
Right, that's true. Thank you so much for Faiza for sharing your insights on that. And so yeah, we have another, I think one last question from the question from the committee. Based on this presentation, what potential I think can be explored by graduate students? Yeah, I think this one was already answered, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it, Prof. Faiza?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Kepada Bapak Ibu Panitia, untuk pertanyaan ini sudah dijawab tadi, ya, jadi bisa kita skip saja. Alright, if that's the case, before we conclude everything off, is there anyone who still wants to maybe raise a question or share your opinions? Bapak Ibu, ada yang sebelum kita menyelesaikan semua ini, ada yang mau mungkin sharing pengalamannya tentang emotional intelligence ini, mungkin di konteks sekolahan yang Bapak Ibu ajar, silahkan ya. Kami terbuka. Ada yang mau langsung ngobrol dengan Prof. Faiza juga boleh, mungkin bertukar pengalaman yang di sini, dan juga mungkin nanti Prof. Faiza bisa kasih insights-nya yang di sana sebelum kita tutup. So I was just asking the audience if anyone wants to, directly talk with you.
Actually, I was thinking about some research also subject regarding emotional intelligence and like elementary school leaders. I don't know if the burnout is an issue in Indonesia for teachers. So we can also consider research on how emotionally intelligence leadership reduce teachers' burnout in primary education. This one of the subject, and also the mediating role of school climate between leaders' emotional intelligence and teacher satisfaction, because now we are looking for like employee satisfaction, so we can like focus on, for example, the impact of principals' emotional intelligence on teachers' job satisfaction, and also the effect this, I think one of the participants, they asked about the trust, how emotional intelligence affect trust. So we can also consider doing research on the effect of emotional intelligence on building trust and collaboration among teachers. I just thought about this topic for research.
Right, right. Thank you so much. That enriches the research topic ideas, especially for the students here that's watching. Thank you so much, Prof. Faiza. Right, then I think if anyone is not going to raise any further question or concerns, time is ticking, but ladies and gentlemen, that was the end of the Q&A session. But before we conclude everything off, we want to commemorate this meaningful occasion, right? Even though we are here virtually. But yeah, we're now moving on to the token of appreciation session. And also we will take photos together as well. So may I invite Professor Tita Rosita to hand over the certificate of appreciation to Professor Faiza virtually. To Professor Tita, the time is yours.
Oh, thank you so much. Actually, I appreciate this. I really appreciate, and it's really a true honor for me to be as a guest speaker in the Universities of Terbuka. This is actually a very like precious moment for me. So I actually in the conclusion, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to those who honored me
Okay.
with the invitation and allow me to deliver this lecture, and my warmest gratitude to all of you, professor, faculty member, and student, and I wish you all the best in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Prof. Faiza. We have Prof. Tita over here who would like to share.
Thank you. Thank you, Prof. Faiza Adil Gonaim, for presenting the material so clearly. It was very helpful and inspiring. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you so much. Actually, I appreciate this invitation. It's an honor for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Prof. Faiza. Thank you very much, Prof. Tita. Especially Prof. Faiza, for your time, for your sharing, very meaningful to us. But before that, we also would like to invite everyone to open the camera if possible, because we want to take a screenshot and photos together virtually to everyone. Bapak Ibu silakan buka kameranya. Kita akan berfoto bersama dahulu sebelum menutup acara. Ya, silahkan. Bagi yang bisa dibuka kameranya, mohon dibuka. Kita foto bersama dulu, selfie ya. Okay, can I please also ask assistance from the committee members to take pictures together? So I will do countdown from 3 to 1. All right, is everyone ready? I think, I'm seeing everyone here. Very nice. Thank you so much for joining us.